Hey, everybody, what a treat we have today. Welcome to all of you that have joined in. I'll give you a few seconds to join in, but it's a pretty exciting day for me. Three very close friends today, two other friends that weren't able to make it. Let's just get them right in. The Brooklyn Styles. Hey, guys.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, Brad.
How we doing?
BJ, Thomas.
Yeah, so
Hey,
we
guys.
got BJ Thomas and Walter Ray. Rhino is out in the state of Washington, and he is unavailable today, unfortunately. And Johnny Petraglia out on the East Coast here in New Jersey. A couple hours ago, some pretty bad storms blew through, and his power is out, and he has no internet. So you guys got the four of us. Johnny said that if his power comes on, that he'll try to join us. We'll see how that goes. So, anyways, so guys, here we are, the Brooklyn Styles. Walter Ray, I'll let you top it off since you're the veteran of the team.
Yeah, I guess I'm now the original member. I mean, the team competition's fun, and especially up in Portland, Maine, in that bowling center there. It's amazing. The people there just really get into the bowling and the cheering for their teams and stuff. And obviously they have their own home team now, so they really get behind them, but they still cheer a lot for the other teams. And I think as long as you're not bowling the local Portland team, you're probably not too bad. I think when that happens, you're probably you're going to be at the mercy of the fans and how they yell and scream. Assuming we have fans, right now they postponed the event from July to sometime in the fall. They don't have a date set that I know of. And, so hopefully everything gets back closer to normal and we can actually have fans and bowling events and stuff. And I think the biggest thing is, somebody like Thomas who has to come across, internationally. Right now, I think there's like at least a 2-week waiting period for those people traveling internationally. They got a couple of events coming up. They're taping they got a show this Saturday, and they're taping another show for the following Saturday. And a couple of guys weren't able to make it. Jason Belmonte and Jesper Svensson. So they just couldn't get here in time to be able to participate. So I think that's the biggest issue with a lot of the international players. And not to mention right now, Maine itself has a 2-week quarantine. So, and I think that's the main reason why they delayed the event.
Thomas, do you see any issue at all? Like what's been the latest going on over there with the coronavirus?
Well, Denmark is pretty good, well off. We haven't really had that many people affected by it, but we still have pretty strict restrictions. And I know they just came out and said earlier this week that the travel restrictions are going to be in place until probably August at least. So basically no traveling unless they're going to open up traveling to Germany, Norway, and Finland next week. But other than that, I think it's pretty much no travels until, the fall at some point. So we'll see what happens. And hopefully whenever they decide to put the league, that it'll work out and I'll be able to come and all the other international guys will be able to make it there. Seems like everything is going the right direction right now, but who knows?
Well, what about you, BJ? Have the bowling centers even opened where you're at?
Not yet.
Yeah,
I believe this Friday we're allowed to open at 50% capacity. Same with our restaurant, actually. So, it's been some weird times.
Yeah. What about you, Brad? Your bowling center open yet?
No, in fact, we just got some information earlier today. We were reading the update from Governor Cuomo that in our situation, bowling centers fall into phase 4.
Oh, wow.
And many places aren't even in in phase
I
two.
didn't know there was a phase 4.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, up
I thought there
here.
was only 3, so you're pretty much done.
Exactly. In New York here, there's 4 phases, and bowling centers fall into the 4th phase, the last phase. But as far as outdoor bars, outdoor restaurants, areas where people can sit outside, those fall under phase 2. So that means that in our case, as soon as we get our outside facility out back completed, we can open that up and then keep the bowling center closed and just serve food and drinks and adhere to the social distancing and whatnot outside, out back, to where we can have more of like a soft opening. So that's what we're looking for right now. I don't know. I mean, it's a little scary, to be honest with you. This is two weeks to flatten the
It's
curve.
a huge unknown, and all the businesses, they need the business. So it's everybody's in uncharted territory here, and it some people think they know the answer, but I think most people don't. So it's definitely interesting times. Down here in Florida, they opened bowling centers a couple weeks ago, so I've actually been able to practice. They've got the 2 centers here that are connected. Basically, they're like 6 blocks apart, and I actually bowl a league in the one place, and they host the PBA 50 tournament the last few years, and the other actually for I don't know, they've been hosting tournaments for a long time there at the other bowling center. And I was actually talking to Larry Duquette, who owns both bowling centers, and he's talking that they're going to have a meeting tomorrow with the PBA about something they're trying to do with the PBA 50 tournaments. But unfortunately, the PBA 50 tour is not looking great. It's a tough thing because the bowling centers put up a lot of money to host a tournament, and without the ability to have a good pro-am or a good spectator gate, they lose even more money. So it's not a good proposition, to host a tournament. And not to mention, a lot of guys want to bowl. There's no doubt about that. But you got a lot of logistics involved. Traveling, some guys fly. Most of the guys probably drive, but it's a matter of being able to get there and a place to stay and making sure you can eat and all that stuff. So, but in a month or two, things hopefully will be way better than they are now. But it's hard to plan anything a couple months in advance because you just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's kind of what's going on up here. As I was trying to say earlier, that 2 weeks to flatten the curve has turned into well over longer than 2 months. It almost feels like it's going to be 2 years before we can even remotely get back to normal. But our fingers are crossed up here, and I was watching, Walter Ray. You bowled that tournament. I think it was last weekend or
a week and a half ago. Yeah.
Yeah, and looked like there was quite a few on every pair.
There was a lot of people there. I was a little surprised. It was a small bowling center. Josh Johnson, who is a really good bowler. We bowled doubles together in the nationals, and we actually bowled doubles together in the regional tournaments and also the member non-member. And we actually won the member non-member regional tournament last December down here in Florida. And so he said he's going to have this tournament. I was like, okay. I'm like, well, I wasn't, overly excited about bowling, but I'm like, I had an event. I thought I was going to be bowling, and then it turned out I got uninvited to the event. So that's another story. But I thought, well, I'll go ahead and go. It was a 2.5 hour drive. I get there, and like I said, it's only 20 lanes, and they were talking about 40 people max and no spectators. And when I get there, they got spectators, and I'm the only one in the building with a mask on. I'm like, okay. and I kind of wanted to go home, but I also wanted to bowl. And I'm like, well, I realize the odds of somebody having COVID-19s are pretty low, And I went ahead and bowled anyway. And in retrospect, I probably shouldn't have bowled because I was a little uncomfortable, but it is what it is. And I I had a lot of people were questioning, my decision to actually bowl and be there because they had basically 6 and 5 on a pair. And because it's a small bowling center, and they actually had one pair that they weren't using. Why, I'm not sure, but it is what it is. And like I said, the odds are nobody had it, but if somebody had it, they could easily have affected, 60 or 70 people. And I think that's part of the problem that could happen. Nobody really knows what's going on. And some people think, it's just a flu, but I think it's more than that. And, I'm actually scheduled to bowl a tournament this Saturday, a team tournament. And they're talking about having it, every other pair. And I'm like, well, that would be something. So it'd be a team tournament. So it'll be 8 bowlers on a pair. And then there would be an open pair in between all the competition pairs. So, and hopefully
the
there
only
won't be
thing,
an excessive amount of spectators in that.
the only thing in a situation like that is that you almost have to do like what they do internationally, and you have to stay at your pair until everybody's done, and then
Right.
everybody get to the next pair, wipe off everything, and then start. So there has to be like a little lag in between there.
Well, I'm assuming, this is actually going to be at John Laspina's Bowling Center down here in Clearwater, where they are actually planning to host a PBA 50 tournament in July. It was scheduled for April, but now it's scheduled for July. So knowing John, I'm sure that his, staff is really going to do everything they can to keep everything above board. I know my wife's been talking, to their manager to make sure everything's on the up and up, and that because she wouldn't be comfortable, and I know that other people are bowling with us would also not be comfortable. So it's it's a combination of all of that. So.
Thomas, what about you over there? The bowling centers are open, right? Because I've seen you practicing a little.
Bowling centers are still closed down. What has happened 3 weeks ago, basically, is that our the governing body of sports negotiated a deal with our government to where the top sports, the top athletes in specific sports are allowed to practice with certain restrictions. So basically, our national teams are allowed to practice in 3 different centers on given dates, but there's a bunch of restrictions, like we can only be one on each pair. We have to wipe everything down. There has to be someone from the federation there to kind of monitor everything. It can only be, we have 3 days a week where we can practice within certain time periods. So we can bowl, but it's not like we can just go bowl whenever we want. But at least getting to get some practice in every week. So.
Yeah, you got to work on making the 710. I guess that you made it because I normally when you post stuff like that, it's after the fact, and just knowing your sense of humor is like, he probably made it. So but then it didn't even come close to bouncing out. Like, you made this whole big deal about, did I make it or not? Guess. It's like it just goes, poof, the 10 pin just goes, poof, and it didn't even rattle around.
Nobody back threw the pin at it, huh?
Yeah. No mechanic.
Yeah, no mechanic. No plastic. You got to have the plastic coating like Walter Ray had with his Odor Reader's ball. BJ, you guys are open down there in Pennsylvania?
Bowling centers wise, no, but restaurant, yeah, we've done takeout, and it's been pretty good. We started a drive-through when everything first started happening. So, yeah, it's been really good. It's been really busy. So,
yeah, that's good. That's good to hear.
Yeah,
the community's got to support it. All right, so let's get talking about the team. The team. Thomas. Yeah, bold predictions. Go ahead.
Well, obviously, we're gonna win in a roll-off.
Win in a roll off. I like that.
And BJ is gonna
Who's gonna be the guy
to throw it. BJ is gonna throw it, and he's gonna send this messenger. It's gonna go this fast. Boom! It's gonna nail
They
it.
do fly a lot in that building, so
They do.
That's
They
a good
do.
possibility.
Oh, I've been having a messenger a couple of years ago.
Really?
I did first shot on the league match, yeah. And then last year, I think my shot was going to be a messenger, and it didn't. It went right in front of it and just missed it.
You know, I don't know if we're allowed to or not, but I'm going to. Screw it. I want to talk a little bit about some of the conversations that Johnny, Walter Ray, myself, and I'm assuming Rhino had. I know Johnny, Walter Ray, and I had talked about some of the potential people that we thought would mix good with us. And I got to tell you, there was a couple of others, but the two people that we ended up with, those were two of the top that we wanted the whole time. So, Walter Ray, I don't know if you had some conversation with Johnny, but go ahead, fire away.
Well, I did have some conversations with Johnny, and I was kind of surprised that BJ was still left. You know, I mean, he's one of the top players on tour. He's got such a terrific game. You know, the only thing is he outhooks everybody by 5 boards on our team, and me about 15. So that's probably the only negative thing about BJ compared to our team. It's just he's going to have to really figure out the adjustments. But the other part of that is being on these matches and stuff. The lanes don't change that much. But I also throw the ball straighter, so I don't get big differences. But I think a lot of guys think the lanes change more than they do. I mean, you throw 3 practice balls, 3. That's 1 on one lane and 2 on the other. Then of course you got 8 guys or 10 guys doing that. But so they don't really change that much. And then during the game, it's only 2 games, and they're Baker games. So it's not like we're bowling 8 games, and you got to move 18,000 boards like the guys do on tour. So I think once you get lined up, the biggest difference is you're going to throw 2 shots on one lane, and then, or 2 frames on one lane and 2 frames on the other lane. So it's kind of a matter of, if there's a difference, which there usually is between those lanes, that you have good communication between the guys, and, past history, the one lane's a little tighter than the other lane. So you kind of have an idea of that. And that's where, you and Thomas can play off of each other a little better. And hopefully I'm in that mix a little bit. And BJ has to kind of like figure out, well, okay, they said it was pretty close. I might go ahead and, bump it to touch, because going light for him is not a big deal. That's going to be an okay hit for him, so.
Well, you want to know something? I thought along those same lines. I thought Thomas and I, that we would be able to do pretty much the same thing. Rhino, being a lefty, he's going to be able to get lined up. He won't experience too much change. But then you don't know this, Walter Ray, but I've already got it figured out here. You're going to throw with 2 hands, so you can be next to.
I have to get a lot better. I don't think that would be a wise decision right now. I'm okay sometimes if we're bowling on a really easy shot, I can get the ball to the pocket a lot, but I need to work on that a lot better between now and then. But I am practicing a little bit. I just got through practicing. I know you called me right when I got home. I tried answering the phone, but apparently you didn't hear me. But yeah, I just practiced a little bit, and but I definitely need to work on that a little bit.
2 hands for the roll-off win.
Yeah, I don't think so. Right now that wouldn't be a good play. In September, hopefully it's a lot better, but I don't know about that. I definitely need a lot of work on that. But as far as players, and no offense to BJ, I kind of liked Matt McNeil, because he's lefty and he's a great player. I mean, he only bowled half the tournaments in, was like 50th or whatever in the point list, made several TV shows. And I was kind of leaning towards lefties, and I thought Johnny would kind of like that. But unfortunately, Johnny doesn't have a good relationship with Matt for whatever reason. So he wasn't real big on Matt. So that's okay. These guys, both Thomas and BJ are great players. All these guys on all these teams are great players. It's just a matter of getting them to gel together and to read off of each other and to work as a team. You know, it was kind of funny because I kind of kidded Marshall Holman about his team. I said, you might have a little extra fireworks on that team, you know, but that's kind of how he bowled. So it might be something he wants to see. I don't know.
He'll be in the mix with it.
Yeah.
BJ, what was your thought when you heard? And for the Brooklyn Styles, our pick is BJ Moore.
I don't know. I didn't have an expectation. I actually didn't think I would go as early as you guys. So, you know, we kind of had different thought processes there. So, 'cause, I mean, this year, stat wise, it wasn't really that good. You know, and I've had several conversations with our guys, you know, with our tour reps, Jim and Jim, Timmy, and you know, just everybody, just kind of breaking down the year and what I saw, what I didn't see. So if it was performance based off of this year, then, you know, I definitely didn't expect to go as early. However, going to Maine, for some reason my ball strikes a lot there. So, and it's always a good time. And so no, I just appreciate being here. That's all. That's
I don't put too much into how somebody did the previous year. I'll just be honest with you. My take on it is, you know, like Walter Ray said, it's 4 shots. So
Sure.
You got to be ready. And you got to be able to step up there and make the best 4 shots that you can, period. That's all you can do. And wherever the chips fall, you know, I mean, even from a lineup point of view, there might be some ideas as to what's the best lineup. But what it really comes right down to it, in my conversations with Johnny, the things that I just said was, I just want somebody that when they're standing up there, it doesn't matter if they're in the anchor spot or the third spot, that they're up there and they're capable of throwing the best shot they can possibly throw. And then we'll just let it see where it falls. And as Walter Ray had said, when Walter Ray and I were talking, you know, Walter Ray had said, I mean, even last year, we actually bowled a pretty solid game.
I thought we bowled very good games last year and just didn't get much for it. You know, that happens. That's part of bowling, unfortunately.
There was a lot of high scores last year.
Yeah, not our team. I mean, we hit the pocket a lot, but we didn't strike.
Right.
So, and, you know, I mean, BJ, because of your speed and rev rate, a lot of times you don't even have to hit the pocket. You know, you can get all kinds of pins flying around. I mean, seriously, you can.
Especially there.
Yeah. So I think it's great that you're on the team. And then Thomas, you know, if the people listening don't know how much confidence I have in you, then they don't listen very much. You know, whenever you're over here in the U.S., you and I are together 24/7. You stay at my house. You practice here at the bowling center. You're a big bowl U guy. You stepped up in the 10th to double to make what the heck was his name? I can't even think. Nate Garcia, to make him get up and get a mark, and you threw 2 great shots. And so, you know, that's what I wanted on the team all along, and that's what I told Johnny. I really don't care who you pick, as long as you feel that they're able to get up in the 10th and get the job done. So whoever Johnny picks to be our roll-off guy, if it does go to a roll-off, I'll go down swinging with anybody on our team, and I don't really care.
Yeah, we're all capable, and it's not to take anything away from Thomas, but I think he's a bit of an underrated player on tour.
I think
because
so,
for one thing, he's kind of quiet, you know, and being international might be part of that. Might be his personality, and he doesn't have the excessive rev rate and speed that some of the other guys do, but it's pretty adequate. You know, he gets on it pretty decent, and he's a great player. I mean, bowled lots of internationally. He's traveled the world and bowled very well around the world. And knowing that Brad and Thomas have a good relationship, I think that helps. You know, and when we get Rhino in here and we'll get him lined up properly, we'll be good.
Rhino's Rhino.
Rhino's tough.
I don't know anybody that has more belief that when they step up there that they can get the job done than Rhino.
Right.
You know, I mean, I believe that if I'm put in that situation, let's go. You're going to get the best I got, but I don't have any issues. If the shot's a little easier on the left and Rhino has a great shot, great. Put him anchor and let's go. Let's go get the job done.
I mean, kind of my feeling is, BJ and Rhino are 4th and 5th, depending on what's going on. And, if one guy feels a little more confident than the other guy, maybe he's the anchor guy, and the rest of us hopefully lead him off the strikes.
Fine with me. I'll bowl third. You'd be the best third guy that I could possibly be. Thomas, what did you think when you heard? I know you were awake for the draft over there. It was pretty late by that time. By the time it got down
2:30 in the morning, about 2:30.
Yeah. So I think you texted me, and then I said, "Don't worry, we'll talk tomorrow." And I just got the thumbs up, and that was it. I got.
Yeah, I got up to let the dog out 3 hours later. That was my night's sleep. So
I have a dog that does the same thing.
No, but that was an awesome moment. I knew there was a chance of getting picked this year, but I've been in that situation a few other years, and you kind of want to see it happen before you really trust it. So to be on a team and be on Brooklyn team is really good. I feel like we have a really good team, and like you guys said, I feel like every one of us is able to step up and throw a strike if we need to, and no matter who's in the anchor position, hopefully when we get to the 10th frame, it's all over. So I
vote for that. I vote for that. That sounds great.
Anticlimactic, but definitely a way to win.
Yeah. No, but it's just I feel like we can get it done. I feel we might be an underrated team, but I don't feel like we are a worse team with what we can do and what we have to do compared to some of the others. The big thing is just going to be getting lined up and communicating, probably. So
it's going to be it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the format, because last year it was 8 teams, and they had a normal elimination bracket, but before that they had 8 games of Baker qualifying, and we actually finished second in that. So it was, unfortunately, in 1-game matches, anybody beat anybody, but or the 2-game matches, but it was going to be interesting. This year we've got 10 teams, so I don't know if all 10 teams are actually going to get bowl on TV, or whether the top 2 teams are going to get buys or whatever. I don't know what the deal is. It's going to be interesting to see how they work that, because it's definitely going to be a different schedule than what it was last year. And my guess is those 8 games are going to be a lot more important this year. That hopefully you can get by if it comes to that, or that you don't get eliminated out of the gate. I don't know I haven't seen what the actual schedule is, so it'll be interesting to see how that works.
Well, we got a couple of comments here. So, Tim, let's put this one up from Jeremy James. Have you thought about moving Walter Ray to the anchor position? I think we just kind of dealt with that. I mean, Walter Ray, you can certainly answer that. But as far as I'm concerned, if Walter Ray's there, man, he's strong enough to carry all of us. So that's fine. He hasn't proved that.
I'm not quite the prime player that I used to be. Last few years I've done okay there, but unfortunately I kind of feel I'm the weak link on the team. These guys beat me regularly, week in and week out on the tour. Brad doesn't bowl as much on tour, but the few weeks he bowled better than I did. So I'm going to give it the best I can. But if for some reason they felt that I would be better at the anchor, I'll do that. I got no problem doing that. But I'm fine leading off and getting you guys started out with strikes. Yeah,
that's what I was just thinking the same thing, Tim. Tim just said, "Oh yeah, that guy with almost 50 titles. Yeah, he's the underdog. Yeah, he's the weak link."
Well,
That's more than all of us together.
yeah,
I think for one shot, I think any of us would put you right in
I agree, BJ. I totally agree.
100%.
Well, you got like over 100+ titles, like
Right.
combined between regular, regional, and seniors and all that jazz. I mean, Thomas, how many tournaments do you have? Do you have 100 tournaments yet?
I think
Might
we
be
have to
close.
ask our age versus his titles.
Yeah,
Our
exactly.
age actually might add up to his titles.
Well, I think we do have the oldest team. Am I wrong in saying that?
Possibly. I don't know. We got two
I mean,
seniors.
Yeah, it'd be interesting that. So let's throw up Josh here. I know Josh and the Pit Nation crew. Pit Nation crew is all the guys that come in the pro shop and the girls that come in the pro shop here. They call themselves the Pit Nation from 10 in the Pit Pro Shop. And Josh gets a chance to communicate with all of them on a daily basis, even though the shop's closed. I'm sure he's texting back and forth. And I agree. I've been hearing this as well, even though I haven't responded to it online. There's a lot of people that are calling us the underdogs. So I don't know. Go ahead, throw that other one up.
I think it's perfect.
I've got no problem being the underdog.
Yep.
But even though I've been player of the year many, many times, it seemed like the PBA was always pushing somebody else, and that kind of pushed me to bowl a little bit better.
I'm okay with that too. Thomas, what do you think? You like being the underdog?
I think it's kind of a role that myself and the Danish national team have been used to. So I think that's not a bad role to have. Like you go in there, you have nothing to lose because nobody is expecting you to do anything, and you can just go out and beat up all the guys that everybody else likes. So,
Beej, what are your thoughts?
I prefer it, actually. I'm not the spotlight type of person, so I like that come from behind victory type deal. So it's always fun to chase to me.
Yeah, I agree. Francisco Bagadino, good friend of ours from here, the Vinny Boombatz up from Niagara Falls. He says, you guys have more ability to kick butts just on your experience alone. So, yeah, I agree, Franny. I agree. Oh, okay. So we aren't going to pause, but we just got Johnny on the phone. I don't know if his power came back on, so we'll see, but he's on the phone with Tim. So we'll keep rolling here. And we'll see how things go. So keep our fingers crossed so we can get our fearless leader in on us here. You know, the thing that was frustrating, assuming the coronavirus never happened, the PBA League was scheduled for June 19th to the 23rd, July 19th to the 23rd. And that same week, there was a senior stop down in Florida that happened to be the Johnny Petraglia senior stop, Johnny Petraglia Open.
Well, that's after that was after the coronavirus. Before that, it was scheduled in April.
Oh, that's right. So coronavirus happened. So they moved Johnny's tournament to July, thinking that that's what was going to happen. And they hadn't yet canceled the PBA League. And so Johnny was going to have to stay down in Florida. He wasn't going to be able to be up there in Portland with us. So in my opinion, it was good news that the PBA League got postponed till the fall, because I want Johnny to be a part of it. I mean, I as a kid, I remember watching Johnny Petraglia complete the Triple Crown and sitting in front of my TV, watching him win and hold up that trophy to have won the Triple Crown. And then when I was on Brunswick staff, when we were down at the U.S. Open, I'll never forget it. Johnny and his wife had all of us. Walter Ray, you were a part of that too, I believe. Had all of us over to his house for dinner, and I walked in, and up to the left side there's the 3 Triple Crown trophies, and I just thought, holy crap, there they are, you know. And now I'm on a team that represents Johnny and the Brooklyn Styles, and I just think it's fantastic. And you got a chance to compete against Johnny for years, Walter Ray. So
Yeah, he was one of the few guys that bowled 300 against me on TV.
oh, was that the $100,000 one?
That was the one, yeah.
Unbelievable. So is he okay? So John, we just got word Johnny will not be able to be on. Their power's still out. He just wanted to call and check in and let everybody know. Thanks that he wishes he could be on, but it's just not going to work out. So maybe sometime later in the summer, before the league gets started, maybe we'll do another one-off, and maybe we'll be able to get all of us on together. I think it would be cool. I mean, BJ, you're just down the road, a few hour drive. Thomas, maybe when you drive or when you fly over, if you're able to get here, that maybe we can have a little practice session up here. Maybe we can get Walter Ray to come up here, throw some horseshoes, and give us all a clinic, and maybe we'll go live while we do all that. Maybe we'll put on a little clinic out here on the lanes. I don't know, we'll do something fun. What else can we talk about? Let's talk about the crowds at Portland. If there's going to be crowds, let's just say there is no restrictions by that time, and have a blast and come and experience that. I got to tell you, last year was my first time at Portland, and I got to tell you what, I don't think I've ever experienced that much emotion and screaming going on at any one time while I'm walking to the foul line to throw a shot. Never in my life. You can't even explain and appreciate those people shaking signs right over while you're trying to bowl, right over the lanes. They're holding the signs up, and you're trying to sit there and focus on your target and all kinds of stuff like that. So, Walter Ray, why don't you talk about it, because you've been bowling there for years.
Well, we also did that on the national tour back in the late '90s. They thought it would be, the people that were the marketing guys thought that'd be a good thing to have, the fans yell and scream while we're actually bowling. And what's interesting is when it's really, really quiet and somebody makes a noise, squeezes a bottle, drops a pen, or the phone goes off, it's very distracting, But when all that distraction is going on constantly, it's actually not distracting. So it's actually less distracting when that's going on. Unfortunately, I think last year they were having the one event up there that was the singles matches. BJ, you were probably there for that. I unfortunately didn't get to go that, but all of a sudden Rhino's bowling in there, and he's got like the first 8 strikes thrown. They're all yelling and screaming, and all of a sudden they get really quiet because he's like going for a 9th bagger, and all of a sudden they get really quiet. And then because it's so quiet, somebody yelled halfway through his delivery and he missed the head pin. That's the one bad thing about something like that, where sometimes the crowd gets really quiet and all of a sudden somebody doesn't realize that, I should either continue being quiet, and they make a big noise. And, I had that happen to me on a TV show. Somebody took a flash picture of me. They were they were down the lane in front of me, and they took a flash picture of me. Right like a split second before I let go of the ball, and of course I threw a horrible shot, and I yelled some expletives, that's those kinds of distractions are not good, obviously. But when everybody's yelling and screaming like that, it actually becomes less distracting. I'm okay with it. I don't particularly think it's professional. Honestly, I'd rather have it quiet. But, it is what it is, and everybody, is under the basic same thing. The problem is, if you happen to be bowling the local team and it comes down to the 10th frame, it's very possible that you might get a little extra. Somebody trying to distract you or something. They do that in basketball games. They're back there going like this when the guy's doing a free throw, But again, a lot of that, when it's all going on at the same time, it's really not as distracting. So it's going to be fun no matter what. And the energy is obviously fun. I remember the very first TV show that I was on that was in an arena. It was in Erie, Pennsylvania. I think it was 1996. And it was the most fun I ever had not winning a tournament. And because usually when you're on TV, obviously you're having a good week. You're making some good money and all that stuff. You always want to win. So when you don't win, it's a big bummer. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, I'm kind of depressed for a day or two, whether it was my fault or just bad breaks or whatever. If I don't win, it's a real bummer for a couple of days. And honestly, after that event, because of all the excitement, because there was 4,000 people yelling and screaming and stuff at this arena, and it was just awesome. And it was really a lot of fun being in that much energy, something that as a professional bowler where, we get 400 or 500 people in a bowling center to cheer, and that's a lot. Here we had 4,000, and it was just big. And I really enjoyed that. Even though I'm kind of a low key kind of guy, I'm on the quiet side, maybe like Thomas a little bit. I'm not quite as outgoing like a Pete Weber, but it was definitely enjoyable to be in that environment.
I would have never thought that, Walter Ray. You and Pete, it's always been a toss up in my book. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it is what it is.
BJ, what are your thoughts there, bowling in front of that crowd?
I think it's actually, there's no way to explain it. So you can't really, go into detail how, what it's like to bowl in front of them. But I prefer it. I prefer to have a distraction, so to speak. What's really awkward is when they're super loud and you take your first 1 or 2 steps and then they get quiet. That's when it kind of trips me up a little bit. But yeah, when they're yelling, screaming, I think it's a lot of fun. Everybody, they find their own nicknames for everybody. So, it's a good time one way or another. So it's, all in all, like if you look at it from a bigger picture, all these people are having fun. It makes you have fun. You're bowling with a good group of guys. It's just a great time.
Thomas?
Well, I haven't had the chance to experience it, but from watching the shows and hearing what everybody says, it seems like one of those environments that makes the whole team environment, the whole team bowling thing even better. Because when you're bowling teams, you want that excitement when someone throws a good shot and strikes or makes a split or whatever. And to me, it's a little awkward if you're bowling a team event and the team doesn't talk, they don't get excited. So you want that excitement, and I think the crowd there certainly makes that a very natural thing. So I'm looking forward to it. I really hope whatever they have to do to make it happen with the crowd there. I think that's a big thing for that event to be a success.
I think it makes the event.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That was what I was going to say. Is that atmosphere? Because you don't get to bowl in that atmosphere, whether you like it or don't like it, or whether you agree with it or don't agree with it, it doesn't really matter too much. It's just that's really the only time you get to experience that. And because of that, it makes it so fun. Like, I remember leading up to the PBA League last year, and my whole thought was 4 shots. You just got 4 shots. You better make sure you got your 4 shots, because if we had been fortunate enough to win that first match, then my brain would have said, all right, 4 more shots. There's a chance you could win a couple matches and really yourself not even bowl a complete game. You know what I mean? So, but that environment, yes, I would agree with you, BJ, is that it was so fun. Thomas, probably the closest thing that you have to that, because you're over in Europe, and I know that the team bowling and club bowling is so big over in Europe. I can imagine that there's sometimes, whether it's on Team Denmark or whether it's in some of your club matches, to where it gets pretty rowdy in there and pretty exciting, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think the closest thing to Maine would probably be something like the Swedish playoffs. I've had the pleasure of bowling those once a few years back, and it's just a fun experience. It's no matter what happens, it's something that I feel like everyone remembers as a big part of their career, having been in one of those playoffs, just simply because of what the crowd and what the atmosphere is like. And it's just I can imagine Maine being that or even more. So it's both a great event, but also something that I can see and hear that it means something to the players that are there.
I think it's
Yeah,
going
I
to be
agree.
fun watching Thomas react.
Well, I can tell you what it's going to be. It's going to be he's going to throw a shot, and then he's going to strike. He's going to go, and then that's it. That's all you get from Thomas. That's all you get. You don't get much from Thomas.
I think we'll get more out of him there. I'm
Something's
sure of
going to
that.
come out. It's going to be great.
I can tell you another thing that I am looking forward to. I haven't heard many of the people talk about it. Is the food up there in Maine. I can't wait for the lobster dinners. I can't wait for the clam chowder. I can't wait for that, and I can't wait. And I mean this sincerely, guys. I can't wait for our group of guys to be able to all go out to dinner. Last year we didn't have the opportunity that all of us went out to dinner. I know Walter Ray and I went out. I think Johnny and I out one afternoon got lunch. But I'm looking forward to being up there for that full, 2 or 3 full days of just being together as a group and being a team, win or lose. Obviously, I want to win, and obviously, I'm going to be disappointed if we don't. But I'm really looking forward to being able to spend 2 or 3 days with 4 other guys, or in this case, 5 other guys with Johnny, that I really want to be together with. So, and I'm trying to talk my wife Michelle into coming. I'm not sure, depending on when it is, if she'll be able to get away from the bowling center. BJ, I know you guys keep making babies up there, so I don't know if that's going to be a situation or not. I know Fancy will be there because
Fancy definitely wants to be there, and if she is, there's nobody going to be louder than her.
Nobody's as loud as Fancy. Well, you got to put that up, though. Put up Fancy's comment from a little while ago. Fancy will be there, but yeah, she's the one that put in a comment that says up a little bit. Right, no, down, next one. Right there. But this is what our fearless, she says, I'm quiet in comparison. Now, I know that was in context. That was in context to the crowd up there. But Fancy, I got to tell you, your voice is far above and so easy to pick out from the whole group. She's screaming, yes, 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 screaming to the top of her lungs, and she buys all of us Brooklyn socks. So we all wear the same socks, and it's great.
And she helped design the shirt that we wore last year, which has got the Brooklyn Bridge on it. I'm assuming we would probably continue with that theme because Johnny liked it. And then she found some socks that had I think the Brooklyn Bridge on it also. So it kind of fit together with that. What's interesting is, one of the senior events that was on Flow Bowling a couple of years ago, and she was yelling and screaming for me, and then some of the fans were thinking, well, that's kind of, not appropriate. And I'm like, okay, so if you're at a baseball game, they shouldn't scream. If you're at a football game, they shouldn't scream. In the bowling match on TV, the other guy's not bowling. She's not interrupting anybody else. She yells and screams as much as she wants. What's the problem? So she asked me if I was, embarrassing her or whatever, and I said, no, it's kind of nice. It's nice to have somebody cheering for you. Everybody cheers and supports their own way. And some. I saw we had a little message from Sammy Ventura, and I bowled him for a title last year at the Senior Tour, and his poor wife was so nervous. And oh my God! And Fancy actually got her a drink so she could settle down a little bit.
Well, here's the deal. We had Sammy V on last week on this show,
right.
and Sammy told this exact story. his wife had no idea who she was talking to.
Well, that
She
was when we
was-
first met. This is
Yeah.
before that. This is way before that. I'm talking last summer. You know, we'd known each other for several years now. So, but you know, Sammy was bowling for his first title on PBA Tour, and bowling me, fortunately for me, or whatever. But she was just so nervous, and Fancy went and got her a drink to kind of settle her nerves a little bit. And,
Did she
Tracy
spike
was-
it? Did she
Tracy
put a
was
couple
pretty-
drops of fun?
She gave her a drink. Not something I want to do, because if I did that, you guys, I might fall over. I don't drink alcohol at all, so wouldn't do me any good.
Yeah, now Fancy just said it was in Clearwater. So she remembered.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. BJ, is Tania and the kids going to be able to come for real?
Not sure yet. We'll have to see when the schedule comes out and how things are looking at the restaurant.
Thomas,
So
how about Hannah? Is she going to be able to make the trip to come over?
She wants to. Again, we have no idea what it's going to look like, when it's going to be, or anything. But we're going to try to make it work to where she can come over and be a part of the whole experience in the crowd.
Well, if you need to come here early and stay a couple weeks at my joint, then that's fine. I'm sure there's some tournaments on the weekend, or at least hopefully there will be. And at the very least, you can fulfill your promise to bring her to Niagara Falls, because at that time of the year in the fall, when all the leaves are changing, it's one of the most beautiful times in Niagara Falls. So maybe we can get all of us together, and it'd be great if all of our significant others can come with us and have a big team dinner. It would be awesome.
Sounds good.
As long as they don't have a nor'easter.
Yeah, no nor'easters. Sammy V says, yeah, thank you. That helped her relax.
Yeah.
It was so funny last week. I had Sammy V on, and we were busy trying to get ready for the show, and it was 5 o'clock, and then 5:03, 5:08. Sammy was going ballistic, like, Tracy, go do this. Tracy, go do that. Good. I finally told Tim, I said, all right, let's just go live. Let's start. He's like, well, Sammy's not ready. Oh, no, it'll be fun. It was hysterical watching this guy trying to get ready for the show. It was so funny.
BJ and Thomas probably don't have as much interaction with Sammy. Don't know who he is. He's a great bowler, and just lots of energy and fun to bowl with and against. And I've had some really good, interesting matches with him. A couple that, for some reason, he likes to bowl really, really well with me. I'm not sure why. You know, I've had that from more than one guy, but and then actually a couple of years ago at the Nationals, we were on sister teams, and I think he finished like in the top 5 or something for the all events at the Nationals, and you know, just bowled phenomenal.
You know, I'm sitting here
part of it's because I
thinking,
lined him up.
I'm sitting here thinking this was supposed to be all about the Brooklyn Styles, and then somehow Sammy V joins in, and then Sammy V becomes the part of the discussion.
Of course he does. That's what Sammy does. It's good stuff, baby.
That's right, good stuff.
That's what he says all the time. Good stuff.
So, what else we got going on? Do we have any other questions here we can answer? Yeah, everybody's asking about Sammy V. Funny. What do we got? Thomas, what time we got out there? It's almost midnight your time, right?
Close to midnight, yeah.
And BJ, you're in the back room at the restaurant, right? You said?
Yep.
What do you got all up on the wall there? Those are all your bowling plaques or Tania's bowling
This
plaques?
This is Tony's office. So you got a little bit of everything. There's like every wall is different. So you got a wall of Justine's stuff, a wall of Taylor's, and then Tania has another thing from when she was at UMES. It's like a whole memorabilia room for him. This was when her dad had it. Everything that they did sports wise, he framed it, threw it up on the wall. So it's pretty
Awesome.
Pretty cool.
That's nice. I used to have a room like that up in Ocala. Brad
cool.
saw it.
Anything
but,
Walter's saying.
That was a pretty special room. I mean, it really, truly was.
Not like that.
You walk in, it looked like the little room off to the side of their pool, and you
Yeah.
walk in, and it is a wall, and I mean a wall, like not just a section, the whole wall is glass trophies. Your jaw goes.
Yeah, one of the best compliments I ever got was when Chris Barnes spent the night at the house, and he didn't want to stay in that room, so he actually slept outside because he was intimidated by all the trophies I had.
That was when we were down. Remember the cream of the crop tournament? BJ, did you ever remember or bowl the cream of the crop tournament?
Nope, heard all about it.
Okay, well that was really a fun time, and it was at that.
This was actually when the tour was actually at the Villages the one year, 2003, I think, and so a couple of guys, Justin Romick and Rick Steelsmith and Chris Barnes, and if there was a couple of guys that stayed at the house because I had a larger house back then. It's not the one I have now is a little more modest, which is fine by me. But yeah.
Well, speaking of the house that you have now, one of the things I like to do is, right before bedtime, I get my pillow all set, and then I watch Walter Ray throw a few horseshoes.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I've been taping my practice sessions, and they have the online horseshoe competition, and I've been getting into that. So it's just something competitive, and it helps me practice. And it's amazing how many people actually watch these videos. I mean, I'm getting 30 to 50,000 people end up watching these videos after it's shared and shared and shared. They probably don't watch the entire thing, because I can imagine unless you're really, really into it, that it would get kind of boring, because it's just they see me and they think I never miss, but I miss all the time. And I used to be a lot better, but last night's session was actually pretty good. I actually pitched last night, was the best I've pitched in quite a while. It was kind of fun.
What'd you get? 65%?
I actually they have these online they have this online group, a couple of them. In the one group, they play 12 shoe games, which is really, really short. I mean, and that's funny because that's what bowling is, 10 shot, or it's 10 frames or 12 shots. So the statistics are similar in that, but in horseshoes, normally we're used to playing 40 or 50 shoes in a game. So they played 5 of these 12 shoe games. And my first game, I had a horrible start. And then after that, I actually started pitching pretty well. And I ended up having 45 ringers out of 60 shoes. So that was 75%, which is about 10 to 15% lower than what I used to do, but it's about 10 or 15% higher than what I've been doing. So it was, some of this practice is actually starting to pay off. I just hope it translates into my bowling a little bit.
Thomas, have you ever pitched horseshoes?
No, never actually.
Probably never seen it, huh?
I've seen a horseshoe, and I've seen videos, but
BJ, you good? Can you hear?
They do have some
I just can't hear Walter, so I'm missing all the good
Europe,
stories.
but not
I'll just have to go back and watch
very
it later,
many.
I guess.
It's I think in Norway, I think they have a group, and they use horseshoes that are basically the same size as a shoe off of a regular horse. The regular horse, the shoe off of a horse is probably about this big, and the Clydesdale's like this big, and the ones we pitch are about that big. So it's they got modified over the years, and now they're made by companies and stuff. But the shoes that we use in competition, you can't even buy them at a store. It's because, for one thing, they'd be way too expensive. If you wanted to go pitch horseshoes like a beginner, you're going to go out and buy the cheapest ones you can. Well, you can buy 4 horseshoes in a stake for like $20. The horseshoes that most of the tournament players use, they're like $60 to $70 for a pair, which is 2 shoes. So you're talking an excessive expense. So if you're a beginner, there's no way they're going to sell that in the store. It's just not going to happen.
So BJ cannot hear Walter Ray for some reason. We've got an audio issue, but so BJ, basically what Walter Ray's saying is that the reason he gets so many ringers is because he pitches with Clydesdale size horseshoes than he does just regular ones. Regular horseshoes are this size. and Walter Ray pitches at Clydesdale's. So
Smart man.
Well,
yeah,
they actually have dimension sizes, so they're not excessively large, but the shoes themselves are shaped a little bit differently, and they're kind of on the quote big side, but they're not bigger than regulation, so they're definitely legal.
so he's kind of like, he's basically got a cork bat, is what Walter Ray's saying when he pitches. It's well within regulations. And Walter Ray, I'm just trying to translate what you're saying in layman's terms so that BJ can hear. So basically, Walter Ray is playing well within the rules, but pushing the limits of the rules. He gets as big a horseshoe as he possibly can, because that stake, it's a lot easier to be able to get that horseshoe around the stake. And
Has BJ ever pitched horseshoes?
has
I know you
BJ
have.
ever pitched horseshoes? Walter Ray
No.
wants to know if you've ever thrown horseshoes.
Nope, never.
Well, I'll tell you what, if I can get all of you up here, and this is for real, if I can get all of you guys up here, we'll see about putting a horseshoe court out here, and we can have the Pit Nation come on over to our outdoor patio, and we'll all stay 6 feet apart from each other, and Walter Ray can be the only one that's wearing a mask, and we can pitch horseshoes out back. Who would like to do that? We got about 30 people watching right now. So Thomas will fly you over. You can pitch horseshoes for the first time in your life, and we can see what Clydesdales wear when they're on the Super Bowl commercial at Christmas time. All right, that was supposed to be funny. Yeah, I got nothing but crickets, didn't I? Nothing but crickets. Everybody's staring at like looking at the screen with their jaw open. All right. I guess that's our cue then, isn't it? I got nothing from that, so we got to be done. Is that it?
When your jokes fall, that's not so good.
Yeah, that's good. BJ, anything to add?
No. I'm looking forward to getting to spend some time with you guys and getting up to Maine and hopefully bring home some hardware.
Walter Ray, anything to add?
No, I'm looking forward to it. I know all you guys, and I get along with all of you, and hopefully we can gel and just make the run that everybody thinks is impossible.
Thomas?
I just look forward to it. Whenever it's going to be, I hope it's going to be a great experience, and hopefully the underdogs will bite the other guys. So it's going to be fun.
Well, in closing, I want to say regarding the Brooklyn Styles, I can't wait to get to know each of you even better, to share some time that we don't when we're out on the regular tour, with the exception of Thomas, obviously, because we room together. It's always nice to have some time away to be able to get to know the other guys that you compete against. And in this case, to get a chance to get to know the guys that I'm going to compete with a little bit better. For me, that's going to be the most exciting part of the trip. And then once we hit the lanes, man, I'm so psyched to go to battle with you guys. I can't wait. I'm really, really excited. I hope they're able to get past all of this so we can have huge crowds there and have it be everything that we all expect it to be. So thank all of you. Thank you, the three of you, BJ, Walter Ray, Thomas. Thanks for staying awake out there. And I had somebody comment. I didn't even put it up, but I had somebody comment, Thomas looks like he's in the movie The Blair Witch Project.
It's the spotlight.
You got the spotlight underneath, and your tone it was so low on the screen.
No, you can tell me.
Yeah, Josh wrote this down when we first got here. It says Thomas looks like he's in the movie The Blair Witch Project. Can you see that? So, anyways, guys, thanks for taking an hour out of your afternoon and being a part of this again. I'm looking forward to it, and I appreciate all of you. So, thanks, guys.
All right, Brad. Thank you.
Guys. Thanks again.
You guys take care. See you in a few months, hopefully.
Yeah, stay safe, guys.